Hello, this is Kinch. I'm going to show you the Goblins deck I've been attempting to play. Um, the Goblins is a very, well, I don't know how old the archetype is. I just seem to remember it from Onslaught. Bunch of tribal things. Goblins were very powerful. In fact, I have really horrible memories of Sparksmith wrecking me many times in Limited. Um, that and Timberwatch Elf back in the day. Um, but I think that the goblins are a lot more synergistic than the Suicide Black deck that I've been playing with. And it can be very, very aggressive, but at the same time, you're not killing yourself, and you can still get to the opponent if the board is blocked up. This is the first list I was using recently. I don't really like it. Um, and I think the basis of my distaste is just the construction of it. We have um, conscripts, at 2/2 for 1, but they can't attack unless you cast a creature spell that turn, and Goblin Cohort, which is exactly basically the same card, uh, just different name, different set. So you have 8 of those. So in order to support these are good. I think these are very good cards. It's just that in order to support these cards, you need a lot of creatures, and this particular setup doesn't seem to have enough setup for this. I mean, there's some, there's one weapon surge, which is a little odd. 2 Pillar of Flames, 4 Lightning Bolt, 2 Death Sparks, a Teetering Peak. It's all just a little slow, and some of the creatures that we do have are a little more expensive. War Marshal, Sparksmith, Goblin Matron especially, uh, although she is a tutor effect. It just never seemed to work quite right when I was playing it, so I wasn't quite happy with it. And I was always really confused by the presence of Martyr of Ashes in the main deck, because basically if you activate Martyr of Ashes, you're killing your team as well. So I was kind of confused by that. So I went to another list, um, which I find is a lot more synergistic and a little more aggressive and works a little bit better. So it ended up adding in Foundry Street Denizen, which is actually a pretty all-star kind of card. Um, whenever another red creature enters the battlefield under your control, Foundry Street Denizen gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So having that on turn 1, and then dropping, say, Mog War Marshal or 2 other creatures on turn 2, it's going to be attacking for 3 really quickly. So it can be a bit of a beating. And then the Goblin Arsonist, which isn't as it was sort of it's nice because when it dies, you can still get some damage into your opponent, and it's a 1-drop, so that's kind of nice. Um, there's Lightning Bolt, kind of a standard here, and anything else as far as creatures are concerned, that's about it. It seems a little bit more creature heavy, and in the sideboard, I'm going to add more, I think, Flame Jabs, as you'll see in this. I'm even considering main decking it. Um, there are times if the board gets stuck and you draw land with a Goblin deck that it's just the land's useless. Flame Jab solves that problem. So you can, it has retrace. Cast this card from the graveyard by discarding a land card and then paying the regular mana cost. So it's reusable. If they decide to counter it, no big deal. You do it again. This card would have won me another game that I had I had it in the deck at the time. So anyway, I'll show you. This is a pretty aggressive deck. It has some draws that might not seem to be aggressive on its face, but uh, it can suddenly just blow up. It's kind of crazy. So it's really good against control decks, I think, because it goes so fast and there's a lot of creatures. Obviously, like Trickery is going to be a problem against to face, but if you're playing a mono blue deck, you don't have to worry about that. Mid range, I would assume this would have a hard time against mono black control or trinket control or a couple other decks like that. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't done a ton of matchups. And other aggressive decks, I think, I don't know. I guess it depends on your draw. I feel that this is way more powerful than, say, a white weenie or a mono black deck, although I guess it could be close. So let me show you this matchup that I had with Is It Post, which is a pretty good a fairly good long range deck. I think it's got all sorts of good tools to it, and it just depends on who's putting it together and what they've done with it. So I'm always thinking to myself when I get a one lander, should I keep it? And yeah, I mean I can cast a lot of things with one mana here, and I'd be okay with it. I mean, ideally I'd have two mountains, but I think I'm okay with the majority of one landers, and I'm pretty sure I keep this one. And another thing that so I see mountains there, and I was wondering, is this the mirror? Kind of worried about that. So Foundry Street Denizen's probably the best play. You could go Cohort, but I mean, if I draw another mountain, I'm going to be able to hit for 3 with this guy, and at best I'll hit for 2 with him. So just trying to play greedy. I think that's the way you go with aggressive decks. Just try to be as greedy as you possibly can. And I draw the mountain, which is sweet. I think I went with War Marshal here. I didn't mention in my talk the Bushwhacker, but I think he comes up in this game, so I can talk about him. He's kind of key to this deck. He makes things really blow up. Now you see I did the Cohort and the Conscripts here because they're not going to attack this turn, but I got them both out. But I for sure will cast something next turn, so I'll be able to hit for a lot. So Flame Slash. If I were him, I probably would have Flame Slashed the Denizen. Well, I guess yeah. The Denizen's going to hit you harder. But I guess he felt a little weird already, dealing 4 damage to a 2 toughness creature. I guess. I don't think there's any right way or wrong way to approach that. War Marshal. Yeah. So now, there you go. Pumping the Denizen. This is why this is so good against these long range decks, is they just don't have a presence early enough, and he's already taken 8 damage after my 3rd turn. And if he doesn't do anything really quick, he could be dead maybe next turn. Will I be able to do enough damage? I don't know. Well, it depends on what I draw. Okay, he doesn't do anything. It's best. there are some instances where you would keep it, but it's not really worth paying 2 here to keep this guy because I'm just going to get a 1/1 back if I don't pay anything. And that also will trigger the Foundry Street Denizen. So paying to keep this guy would be a bad idea. So he dies, he brings 1 back, and I get +1 on the Foundry Street Denizen. And I draw Goblin Bushwhacker. So if you kick it, which would make it a cost 2, everything gets +1 and haste. So what do we got here? We got 6 on the board. 7 plus 5 would be 12. I'd be swinging in for 12. Or actually even more for play the Arsonist too. Maybe swinging in for 14. Or actually, +2, 16. So I could be swinging for 16 here. You know, Electrickery would really ruin your day, but I think you would have played it already. And really, you can't, you know, just to play as if he doesn't have it. I don't want to play around it. That's usually not main deck for a lot of decks. I mean, definitely will get sideboarded in this deck. I can guarantee that. So now the game's over. So that was turn 4, and look at this board. It's kind of crazy. Goblin Bushwhacker is very, very good. And so is actually Mog War Marshal. I think it's a very underrated card. I mean, for 2 mana, you end up with, well, altogether 3 creatures. I mean, he's there for a turn, so if you wanted to block with him, you could do that and still get the goblin. So it's a very good card. So then, obviously, my opponent's going to side in Electrickery. Just a matter of, you know, can I get to him fast enough, and does he actually draw it? And with these post decks, they usually do, because they draw a ton of cards, and it's just, you know, typical control-ish kind of stuff. So I keep this, obviously. If I can get the 4 mana, double Bushwhacker would be good, but once I get up that thing, he might have counter spells and burns and other things to ruin my day, but what can you do? So conscripts. War Marshal, I'm gonna guess. Yep. Gotta play something to get the conscripts online. We'll let the Marshal die next turn, I believe. Now, the question here is, do you play Bushwhacker? I guess you do, or you don't. I mean, I kind of been keeping mana up. Kind of assume he's got Electrickery or some other kind of thing going on. But you do need to play something for the conscript, so. And I think I get Electrickery here. And here's where the, you know, you just don't have card draw. I could use some more creatures. I get an Arsonist, that's good. The Bushwhacker really needs a board to make it really worthwhile. And Ignore Post, he hasn't played anything. I mean, I still need to play something to make the conscripts go. Sure, Sparksmith. Now, Sparksmith in this deck, against this particular deck doesn't seem to really do anything, so it's just an expensive goblin. Plus it hurts me. Um, and Sparksmith is nice when you get it early, but later on when you have a lot of goblins, it's really painful. Because it only can target creatures. It deals X damage to target creature and damage to you. And there's really no reason for me to be targeting creatures right now. I think I sideboard him out, all of them finally in the third. I didn't really sideboard very well for this game. In fact, I didn't put Flame Jab in, I think, which is a silly thing, because you'll see it as we get along here that had I had Flame Jab, I would totally just would have won this game. So I got him to 11. He still really hasn't played anything but 2 Electrickeries. And a Flame Slash. I think he's just trying to control my board, which, you know, sure. And then I play a second. What I'm counting here is I have 6 damage in my hand. If I can get these in, I can get him close to lethal. But he counters it. That would have done. I would have gotten 5 there. So I think he has to counter one of those. And now I'm just stuck with these lightning bolts at the moment. And I start drawing mountains. So if I had Flame Jab instead, start pinging him that way. And I think I'm just going to start going by turns, because he just starts, you know, he cast Mystical Teachings and got Mystical Teachings. Not sure why he did that. That might have been a misclick. Unless someone can explain why you would Mystical Teachings for Mystical Teachings. I didn't understand why that happened. So the next turn I end up... no, so then he casts a Mull Drifter. And then I do what? I get a Denizen. Okay. So I'm still, you know, even though he's got a full grip... I mean, I got 6 damage in hand, but I really need him to untap, but or not untap, to tap himself down. But whether that happens, I don't know. So nothing really happened there, and then I drew a Sledder, which I think he ends up countering, but that's fine. I'm just trying to get something going. Sledder would have been nice. I can't really attack without losing my stuff. I would have attacked had the Sledder gotten on the board. And I draw another mountain and do nothing, right? I draw another mountain. So right now, if I had Flame Jab, I could cast it several times for 3 and Lightning Bolt him. You know, attack also. It would have been an answer here, but see, and I wouldn't have to play those mountains. There's really no reason to play the mountains. I think I played the 5th because in case if I stacked up and he played something like Daze, that I could pay for it. But, so he taps out here, basically, and I just decide to, well, he still has mana here, but I figure I just bolt him now while I have the chance. Who knows, if I draw another bolt, then I can win, but, and it's a possibility he had another counterspell too, so. But basically, I just keep drawing lands here. And War Marshal doesn't really do anything. He gets Serrated Arrows, which if I had Smashed to Smithereens in my hand, I could get him for 3. Again, I don't know if he has a counterspell. Although I do know he has Prohibit, but that's so that he could pretty much counter anything I do. So I'm just pretty much dead here. But that's the thing with Flame Jab, is that if it gets countered, it just goes into the bin, but then you retrace it. So if all these mountains that I'm sitting here holding actually do something. So I really think that Flame Jab might even be a main deck for Goblins, because if the game goes a little bit longer and you have these mountains in your hand, they can actually do something. And, you know, 1 damage can either clear the way for a blocker or kill a creature or, you know, just do damage. So it's a pretty, I think that's probably what I'm going to end up doing with the deck. So even though my opponent got a really good draw and got way ahead, he still barely beat me. I still had a chance to win that game, had I had a Flame Jab or something silly. So in the 3rd game, I do put the Flame Jabs in and some Pyroblasts, and I keep this. This is Mountain, War Marshal, Denizen, Bushwhacker, Smash the Smithereens. So you're going to end up going Denizen, War Marshal, and then depending on what else you draw, the Bushwhacker will get in. But I have to be careful. If he's got mana up, Electricity can really screw you over. But lucky for me, I think this is incredibly optimistic. I think in order to beat this Goblin deck, he has to stabilize, and in order to do that, he needs colored mana. I don't think Cloud Post is really going to help you very much. And it's possible that that's what he kept, but I would think that you should mulligan to get at least blue or red or something, because I don't think Cloud Post is going to help you, especially if the Goblins get a good draw, which I happen to have. So you War Marshal, swing for 3. Okay, now you're really behind. I mean, this board is fairly threatening as it is, but now you have no colored mana. I mean, you could get access if you play a Prism, which I think is going to happen here. No, plays nothing. So I think this is a big mistake. He's going to need a miracle draw here. So seeing that he's like this, I think the choice here is to play the Bushwhacker now, because there is no way. Well, what's Days? Whoops. Let me go back to my collection and look up Days. I don't think he can he even play that? Quantity. You may return an island. No, so he can't play Days either. So there's nothing he can do that I know of to right now to stop the Bushwhacker. So I don't want to let him give the opportunity. So if I play him now, this will be a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and he'll be down to 7 with 3 in hand. And if he plays something, I have Smash the Smithereens too. So you play the Bushwhacker, and you swing for 10. So there's an island, which I'm not afraid of at all. If he had red mana, I'd be scared for Electricity, which just wrecks my team, right? I mean, that's sad, but that's what it is. And he plays a Mole Drifter. Okay, you got 2 cards, and you can play Daze. I don't even know if it's in the deck, but uh, I think Daze would be okay. So what's the play here? I'm going to get 3 damage in for sure. And I have Lightning Bolt in hand, so there's 6. There's a possibility that he decides to take something if he's stupid, and so I think you play at least 1 creature, if not 2. I don't mind playing, because he's tapped out, right? He could play Daze, but so I probably should play the Foundry Street Denizen first. I don't want to get Goblin Arsonist countered. So, no, you play Goblin Arsonist first, because then you could pay. So you play Goblin Arsonist to pump up the Foundry Street Denizen, probably forcing him to block. And then if Electrickery happens, you know, after that I'm still going to get the 3 in, right? So if Electrickery happens, this will deal damage to him. Bring him down to 3, bringing him into Lightning Bolt range. So that's how I think I should play it, is Arsonist first. Playing all this before combat to pump the Foundry Street Denizen. He'll end up blocking with a Mole Drifter, but that's okay. Yeah, Goblin Arsonist first. So now if he dazes, I can pay 1 and keep the Arsonist. That's the one I want to land. I don't really care too much about the other Denizen. Now, I don't remember if I thought about that while I was playing the game, but that might have just been accidentally playing it correctly, which, you know, that happens. And now I think he's just pretty much dead. Well, when he played Preordain, I figured, well, he's done. I mean, even if he drops a red here, you know, and gets rid of my team, Arsonist is going to do damage to him, and he's not going to be able to counter Lightning Bolt. So I don't know what outs he possibly has. Well, when he drops the island and does that, yeah, well. Yeah, he's just dead. Even Electrickery, nothing can save you. Nothing can save you now. Keeps scrying and looking for stuff. And yeah, he concedes. So yeah, that's a very, turn 4. It would have been turn 5 kill, but can be a pretty quick deck. And the thing I like about it too is that the interactions make it so you have to think about some things and how you approach them. It's pretty fun, I think. I like the deck. I don't know how much I'll continue to play it, but it's pretty fun. So if you want to try Goblins, I would give it a thumbs up and recommend it.